I grew my ADHD personal brand to 142k followers in under 2 years. And in this video, I want to share with you and break down exactly how I was able to do that. And also share with you the process that I'm going through as an ADHDer who has a personal brand and how I think about the content creation aspect of it and the coaching aspect of it, because I'm a coach as well. And if you're someone who aspires to have a very similar situation where you grow your audience online, you create relatable content to anyone that has ADHD with your interests that you have, or something like a skill set or something that you're obsessed over, and you want to be able to unpack that with your audience and build what I'd call an ADHD lifestyle business. In this video, I want to make sure I break it down for you. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'll say is that I did go from someone who had grown a following before, right? I'd done that through my art account. So I used to be an artist before I got diagnosed with ADHD. And I grew my art account. It was at 1,000 followers for a very long time when I was doing art. And then there was one moment where it just blew up. And the way it blew up around 100k followers in maybe I'd say 2 months. I can't remember exactly the time, but it was a very short space of time, and it's extremely overwhelming because a lot of people were reaching out to me in the DMs, and a lot of people were trying to get me to do commissions and all this stuff, right? And I remember that I got so overwhelmed that I just kind of left the app and I kind of went in this little bubble. And then when I came back, like, okay, I'm ready now, and I'm gonna go and check what people have been, requesting commissions. And Instagram had deleted every single lead that had messaged me, so I lost all those leads, right? So I remember like how that made me feel, one, and two, just how overwhelmed and extremely just like anxious and an imposter that I felt like in that moment as well, right? So there was a lot of imposter syndrome playing a role, rejection sensitivity. There was a lot of hate that was happening around, people that were just jealous of obviously the growth and all this stuff, right? And at the end of the day, when I was doing that, the thing that was the most friction on the journey was actually that I was working a 9 to 5. I was a manager, I'd just been promoted as a manager. And when I got promoted as a manager, I was still doing this side hustle. I was calling it a side hustle at this point, right? And I was doing it for the love in the beginning. So I never tried to sell artwork before. I was just doing it for the love. So I'll do like challenges. So the challenges I'll do would be like 100 days of sketching. I done that. So I was sketching every day, and I'll post whatever I was able to accomplish in that day. And I was doing portraits. And eventually the portraits, people could see the first portrait that took me a day to do. And then, the 100 day, obviously the difference between the two, right? So that was one thing. Then there was another challenge that I used to do, which was 365 days of drawing anime characters. And what I was doing is I was saying to my audience, pick a character and I would draw it. And then what I'll do is obviously when someone said like, I don't know, Goku or, One Punch Man, or what is it, One Punch Man? Or any of these anime characters, I would reply to their comment, and then I would obviously show a speed, like a time lapse of me drawing it from start to finish, right? And that was just a theme that I was doing. And then there was another theme that I was doing as well, where I was drawing all of my favorite musicians. I was doing digital art of my favorite musicians, and of course, every day I'd post one. I'd done that for I think a year as well. So I was really into streaking a lot, right? So that was one of the things I was known for, is just doing streaking and having a series like day one of drawing this character, or day one of drawing this and that, right? And I was really getting immersed into the process of drawing. There was an artist that I really admire to this day, Angel Ganif, who had a course called Do the Warriors that I signed up for. And at that time, I was really, really like, do you know what? I'm going to absolutely 100% just put all my all in to learning digital art and drawing from the foundations. Like, so knowing how to draw like the skeleton of like there's the foundations of the face that you can build on, and you can build your own characters through that. So he obviously had a course that showed you how to draw portraits from scratch. So I was on his course and I was doing like the process with that, and I was sharing, documenting my journey of doing that. And I was really feeling like this was going to be the thing that I was going to do. And then I was going to obviously create my, the characters that I was drawing. I was actually going to be able to create them and make them more unique, right? And have a different style that I'll do for them using his methods, right? So what was happening is I was learning that and I was ready to document that. And I remember I was undiagnosed with ADHD, right? So I didn't know that this is obviously an ADHD obsession fixation that I was doing at this point, where I was just watching videos of heads like all day. Like my partner was just like, Mike, you're in this obsessive state of like heads now, drawing heads, right? I'd have like just all of these. I'll just have like downloaded like portrait photos of people, and like, I'll be doing it's called the layout. You did a layout of someone's face, so you'd have the circle, and then you have the jawline, and then you have where the eyes are meant to be. So yeah, I was just really obsessed in that situation, right, with that. And then I ended up having a massive meltdown. This meltdown was really heavy. I've mentioned it before on my channel, but there was a point where I was trying to mix the art and my 9 to 5 at the same time as a manager. I had a team of around 10 people, and I was just burnt out. And I remember that my daughter, like I was trying to like reason with her on something. I think she was just like being stubborn or something. I can't remember now, but she done something that triggered me, and I felt like I had no control, and I just felt she like she's not listening to me, like, and like I'm her dad, like, and I just felt really defeated. And what that actually was, now I didn't know at the time, this was rejection sensitivity, right? So as a father, a lot of us can relate to that, because a lot of us have this thing where as a father sometimes we have no place where we can come in and help our partner, because obviously the child is really attached to the mum. So for us, we feel really rejected in those moments where it's like, I want mum, like I don't want you, like, and it's like very, it's very touch. It really hurts, right? Especially as an ADHD dad, right? So I hope you could bear me with the storytelling, right? Going into a bit of a tangent, but I just want to give you some context, right? So this is how my IG actually really started, right? So obviously I had the IG situation with the art, and what I ended up doing is I ended up going to therapy because I had this meltdown. The meltdown was so heavy. I remember like I started slapping myself in the face. I was really like just I was so like yeah, it was weird, man. And then I started shaking. So I was obviously having like a panic. I don't know what, maybe a panic attack. I don't know. Like, but I was just really definitely out of character. Like this has not happened to me before, right? And then my partner just looked at me and said, "You need therapy, right?" And I said, "Yep, definitely need therapy, right?" So I went to therapy. I've done it through BetterHelp, which is an online service that has these therapists that you can select based on your situation. Obviously, do a form, and how you answer the form, it just selects you someone. So I got selected with this lady who was a lovely lady that really helped me massively, because when she was hearing about my situation, she started to notice that it does sound like it's ADHD traits that are coming up, right? There's a lot of things I was talking about that was really tying to ADHD, but it was also tying to trauma as well, like childhood trauma. And the thing is, there's a thin line between childhood trauma and ADHD, right? So she said that it's better for me to go for a diagnosis because, it might just actually just be trauma, not ADHD, right? So I went for the assessment. My partner helped me to find somewhere to get the assessment. The assessment was about 3 hours, or 2 hours. I can't remember now, but it was quite long. And I've done some of the activities, questionnaire, all this stuff, and yeah, it turned out I obviously had ADHD, but it was the combined type. And the combined type come from the last activity that I did, which is I still laugh to this day about it because if it weren't for that, maybe it would have been an inattentive type. But I think that this activity I did was the one that obviously highlighted how impulsive I am, and I didn't know that impulsivity was one of the things that was running the show the most in my life. It was just like something that was a massive blind spot for me. But I am very impulsive. I actually live in Barcelona, Spain, and for most people that have known me my entire life, when I was living in London, this definitely did not make sense to anyone. That I'm just gonna fly to Barcelona and go live here, and I think most people just felt that I wasn't gonna make it, right, including family, right, and yeah, I kind of obviously I'm still here, right? It's been 13 years, and yeah, like my whole journey was just about documenting this journey of my ADHD once I got diagnosed, right? So now I want to give you obviously the context of now I've been diagnosed with ADHD, what's actually happening leading up to diagnosis, right? Because it's going to help you to understand what was going on for me and what helped me grow this brand. Because remember, like I've called it ADHDizzle. There's lots of things that have just been added. Like I want to give context for all of it. So the the thing that was happening before I went for the diagnosis is that I went down this rabbit hole of just like watching some of the content that was resonating with ADHD stuff. Like Mel Robbins was sharing some stuff, and I was coming across some of these podcasts, and it was helping me to just understand, yeah, like this is definitely me. She's literally describing me. This is me, right? And every time she said something or any podcast was saying something that just extremely resonated with me, I was like, man, that is fucking me. I just screen recorded it and I grabbed it and I went on CapCut, and obviously as I was editing it, it was like drilling into my brain, right? So in terms of like the lesson or the value from it. So whenever I had a aha moment, of course, I just make sure that that was the clip. That was what people saw is my aha moment. So basically, I was just sharing my aha moments through all these clips. And eventually, I was like, yeah, like yellow is a color that I don't know, I resonate with a lot. I like the color yellow, and I didn't realize that actually yellow does tie a lot into ADHD, like the empathy and all this stuff. Like it's kind of like a friendly color. So it just yeah, it just happened organically. It weren't like, oh yeah, yellow because it's a friendly color. No, I just chose yellow, and it just happened to be the perfect color, right, for to what represented my brand, right. And then the black and white was a lot to do with we are always overstimulated with lots of color all the time. So I decided to go for the black and white with the yellow. That was kind of like what I wanted to be known for, is that there's a messaging around it that, you know, keeping things simple, black and white, no overstimulation, and then the yellow obviously for the brand as well. Created the logo myself, this one here, and then just leaned into it. And ADHDizzle, so like you might be like, what was ADHDizzle about? Well, I used to have an account called Univizzle, which obviously stood for the universe, and I was really into a lot of like spirituality and just like the laws of the universe and stuff. So I'd be posting stuff that was from clips that were talking about universal truths and all this stuff. So like people like Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks, like, you know, this all these type of thought leaders like that I was coming across on YouTube, because I used to be a very heavy listener of YouTube. Like I used to consume a huge amount of content. So just always watching this self motivation, like kind of uplifting content, right? And yeah, obviously from Univizzle, and then I had this series called Shizzle when I was like basically reacting to like some artwork, and I would say, oh, shizzle, like that, like, you know, everyone knows that Snoop Dogg always says shizzle for shizzle and all this stuff, right? So like that's where that came from. And then obviously with ADHD, I was like, ADHDizzle, I don't know, just random, like it's just I can't really tell you what happened, like just my ADHD brain just went into like, yeah, you know, ADHDizzle makes sense, like. So then obviously I created the brand ADHDizzle, right? And what ADHDizzle is meant to represent is anyone who wants to build a lifestyle business. Like in the end, that's obviously what this comes down to, is that like there was a lifestyle that I wanted to live, and there was a lifestyle that I was leading that was stopping me from getting there, and it's because of how I was relating to myself, right? And when I got diagnosed, I realized why I was doing things the way I was doing them, and realizing that society's just got this model that doesn't fit for my brain, and of course it just made me understand, oh, okay, that's why. That is why I'm not doing things this way. And that's why I'm having a lot of friction. That's why I'm masking. That's why this, that's why that. That's why I drink so much alcohol. That's why I'm easily influenced, right? There was a lot of things that were making sense to me, right? So then I started leaning into, obviously, the strengths. I was impulsive, but the impulsivity got me to create this account. It got me to create my school community from scratch. And what I was actually doing, like I said to you, is I was just posting clips from credible sources that were coming across as very genuine, authentic people that were talking about ADHD that I trusted and believed in. And I just shared the clips. So to be kind of like spreading awareness, right? What it then happened is I ended up trying different formats. So I started trying memes, and then obviously they were blowing. So I had these clips, and then I had the memes, and then that was growing my account a lot, those two formats. And then I started doing carousels, and then that was doing really well. And then I started doing reactions to, like, you know, I'll do a very strong hook of me just having an aha moment, like wow, that, like, and pointing up to the hook, and then there'd be a clip that would just really represent, you know, something really powerful that I'd found. And yeah, I just played around with different types of videos, like talking head as well. So like obviously I'll do like me talking about my experience of ADHD. But in the beginning stages, I was scared to do the experience of my ADHD because I was so new to ADHD and new to the community. So there was a part of me that felt like I'm not an expert, so I can't be talking about this. But then as I was doing the journey and I was implementing stuff in my life and I was creating these new frameworks and I was solving problems in my life, I started to be more confident about talking about it, because obviously I was having breakthroughs around my time management and my relationship with myself, and how I identify things sooner, and growing my social media following, being consistent with that, like growing my school community, building a whole course on ADHD, the ADHD reset, link in the description, by the way. And then, yeah, just building my coaching business from scratch, right? So this all come down to me just not giving up and saying that I'm learning stuff about ADHD and I'm sharing it. And I'm going to share it from all these different ways. Like there's going to be different ways I'm going to share it. And whenever a format was working really well, I just made sure that I obviously posted more of that, right? And a lot of the time it just come down to just sharing like the authenticity around it all. It's like I'm not trying to say like ADHD has no challenges. Like I was trying my very best to just make it be that everyone's always highlighting the challenges, but no one ever highlights the benefits or the things that are strengths and that come with being an ADHD, right? And I think because there's so much emphasis on the negative, it makes it harder for us to see the positive or to believe in that there's anything is possible, or for us to lean into this journey that we want to really lean into. So I had a lot of things to chip away at, man. I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I had a lot of things I was very insecure growing up as a kid. I was very shy, timid. So like a lot of things like to do with like leadership, getting attention, all this stuff was very, very just like I'm an introvert. There's a lot of things that were just like, and like I remember like I've always said to myself that I would love to make an impact on people. But there was just this thing where I think I've got ADHD and dyslexia, I think, right? And I'm going to share something with you that has been a fear of mine for my whole entire life up until now. So I was in school and I was obviously doing the ADHD thing. At the time, I could see now this is obviously an ADHD thing. I was getting distracted. I was just laughing with someone in the class, and my teacher was at the front. I think it was geography. And I feel like I'm sitting in that chair right now. It's crazy, right? So I'm playing that and da da da, and she goes, I think my name's Junior. Growing up, right? Because I had my dad's name, Michael Junior. So I think she called me Junior, if I remember, because I think I was always Junior up until secondary. But anyway, she called my name and she goes, "I want you to read this part of the book, right?" Because I'm thrown off, I'm like, damn, like she's telling me to read in front of the class. Everyone looks round and looks at me, and I look at the page is blurry. Like I'm no way able to read what's going on that page, right? Because I'm just like I'm experiencing like I'm put on the spot now. Everyone's looking at me. I'm shy. I'm obviously like just like I'm not ready to read out loud, right? So I'm reading out loud, but I'm stuttering, and the experience was excruciating. And that was my first experience of RSD, right? That right there was one of the worst experiences of my childhood that I really, really carried with me for the whole of my life. I'm in my 40s now. I'm going to be 43 this year. And I've carried that storyline of I don't like reading out loud because I don't want to stutter. I don't want to stumble on my words. I actually come across a podcast where someone had a very similar situation. He's very successful. I think, what's his name? I forgot his name, man. He's got the Greatness podcast. Lewis. Oh, damn. I forgot his name, man. But yeah, he's the School of Greatness. I don't know if you know. Leave in the comments if you know his name. Something Lewis. But yeah, basically he said that he had a very same situation, similar, obviously, with reading out loud. And that's what stopped me from doing anything to do with public speaking or anything to do with like any roles where I have to read out loud, right? I'd start a job and like maybe I had to read from a script. That for me was just like, no, like I didn't like all that, right? So I'd carried that childhood memory for my whole entire life. It stopped me from taking on so many opportunities because of it, right? Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because the undiagnosed version of me was just carrying this with me the whole time. And it's just noticing that, right? And I think being diagnosed with ADHD, I just got to see where all these things were coming from, like all these traits and what impacted me the most and what trait was what when that situation happened. And it helped me to understand myself better, right? And because of that understanding of myself, it then made me lean into this journey in the way that I have, right? I have hundreds of people message me every day. They tell me that I make a difference to them. I have calls with people who say that I changed the way that they see things now. I've had people go through the course, the free course that I just mentioned to you earlier, that have had a massive difference and a shift from doing the course. And now, what I want to do now is I want to create a cohort. And I want this cohort to be a select few people that get to do an experience with me, exactly what I've learned on this journey, building a personal brand, ADHD personal brand. And we do this guided step-by-step process together. And I've been wanting to do this for so long, and I just feel like this is the time. This is the perfect time for me to do it right now. And just show you how I've done the IG, how I've done the school, how I'm doing YouTube right now, how I'm navigating my day, how do I time block, how do I use my calendar, how do I use my dashboard. I've got a Notion template that I've customized to my needs to make sure that I stay up and stay consistent with the stuff that I'm working on, complete projects, time management, how am I dealing with my wellness, like all this stuff I want everyone to have access to, right? So yeah, I'm going to be doing a call haul. There'll be more details probably on the next video that I do. But just for anyone who's watching this right now, this is something I'm definitely going to do. If you want to be, someone that could potentially be a part of that, it's going to be in May. And there's a link in the description to jump on a call with me to hear more details of it. But yeah, apart from that, that's how I grew my social media following to 141k in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a lot more intricate details that I could share, but I think that's just another video or a workshop or something of some sort that I can probably do where I can go through the numbers, like, how much reach I've had in the last 90 days and like sharing the screen and all that. Like, yeah, that would be something that's more like a detailed breakdown of everything. Going through some of the content, what worked, what didn't work, and yeah, like that's something else. So if you want to see something like that, let me know. I could probably do that, but I think only if there's a demand for it, I'll do it. But yeah, that is it, man. I just wanted to do a video like this to share with you what my experience has been like as an ADHDer, building a personal brand from scratch and building ADHD lifestyle business, basically. Feel free to subscribe because I'll be doing a lot more videos that will share insights on my journey and some of the things that I've been helping, obviously some of the frameworks, and also going to be sharing the entire course here as well, that you can have access to. So yeah, subscribe, like. If you like the video, just like it. It's going to push it to the right people like you. Anyway, take care. Peace.